Good evening. Welcome to Berks Bards. I'm your host, Bernardo, hosting you virtually from near Reading, Pennsylvania, since we are doing virtual. And what we have going on this evening is a brand new year and a brand new format. We're going to, at this point, we are strictly open mic. And if you'd like to be on the mic, just put your name in the chat. We're going to say that the limit at this point is 2 poems. And 2 poems for 5 minutes. And we will be calling you in order. Right now we have about 5 people already signed up. We got here early. So I am right now looking to Marilyn to ask Marilyn, the way we used to do things is to find out if we have any announcements.
I guess the big announcement is that these January, February, and March are definitely going to be open mics, just because we are transitioning from a one board to new leadership. And in April, it looks like it's going to be Anthony Orozco as our featured reader.
Right.
I would tell you that I'm right now putting together the 1-minute poem call for submissions, and hope to see that go out very shortly. So you'll be contacting klimshow@msn.com if you want a slot. We only have 21 slots this April, so bear that in mind if you would like to do that. And it's a $10 donation. At least at this point, that's what it is. It might change before the email goes out, but keep your eyes open for that email and try to get on there early if you want a slot.
What is the project called again, Marilyn?
It's on Berks Community Television, and
Okay.
basically it's a 1-minute poem, and whatever your choice is, it is a family program, television.
Okay, fair enough.
So
Okay.
keep it clean. But yeah, a poem that fits into about a minute. I'm never terribly strict. Don't give me an ode. I will not take an epic ode. No way.
Can you put it in the chat for us, Marilyn?
I'll try. It's definitely gonna be coming out as an email. So
Okay.
if you're on our email list, you'll see that.
Okay.
I think that's all I have, Bernardo.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
welcome all the newcomers. I see Sandra's here now. I don't know who else came in the door behind her. I think Carl came in late. All right.
Sylvia.
Welcome to Berks Bards once again. And like I said, it's a new year, new format. We're doing open mic. If you want to read on open mic, put your name in the chat. We're asking for 2 poems or 5 minutes, whichever fits for you. And right now we are recording. If you don't want to be recorded on open mic, let me know and we will pause the recording. I think that's everything. So what I will do now is I will start the new year with a focus on something new. And that something new is a poem that talks about part of what we're going through right now with this pandemic and this new year. You know, this is a poem of hope. This is a poem to say that things are changing, but things have always changed before. And right now, we need to look within ourselves to find that hope. So if you look behind me, and I like to ask you to mute if you're not speaking. If you look behind me, you will notice that I have some wonderful waves coming in, soothing, and the breeze, and the sky is so possible blue. It's possibilities in the sky that's blue. So this poem is called New Skies to Search for Blue in. New skies to search for blue in. The ruin of the world, some rumored. Tumor of our twisted tongues. How many of them cursed and hated. Woe, what wicked deeds were done. New dreams to seek out solace. Eradicate the ignorant darkness. New light, longer, stronger rays. Insert the hope of certain outcomes and kingdom come of God displayed. where new is now the quiet. I need someone of gentle spirit to speak to smoke that stirs my soul, like hurricane inside its center, a modicum of slight control. New means to reach nirvana, frequencies that speak to sunlight, that even touches those of clouds, that calls for them to work together, yet with no utterance allowed. New ways to see the promise. Look through prisms, bare partitions. Invest in new discoveries old. Work at growing into flowing. See intuition then unfold. When new is new no longer, will songs we sing become new favorites, taking us to higher heights, past those portals where we tremble, not knowing what beyond the night. New is the number 7. Revel in each dawning on display. Rejoice richly, rising sun. Rays become the rhyme and reason. The time of new has now begun. New skies in search of blue. The clues in many books surmise. Rising tides where rivers run. Find dreams wherein your hopes might cling to. The time of new has now begun. New skies to search for blue in. New dreams to seek out solace. Where new is now the quiet. New means to reach nirvana. New ways to see the promise. When new is new no longer. New is the number 7. New skies in search of blue. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
First to the mic, because that's the first person to type into the chat, is Jane.
Hi, thank you for that beautiful poem. It was just reminding me of, I ran into on YouTube Playing for Change, the group Playing for Change doing Peace Train, which is was a wonderful blast from the past done anew, and that made me think of renewal. So thank you. I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to read 2 new poems that I've been wrestling with. And so I took today's occasion as an opportunity to wrestle all afternoon with these poems, and I'll keep going with them, but it helped me push them to the next place. So this is a curse poem, which are always fun to write. And it's a curse poem to someone from long, long ago that periodically just bips in to my brain. And so this is called A Curse to Your Last Shadows. And I have as a potential acronym or under the title is the fact, I looked up how to get rid of ghosts. And to get rid of ghosts, you may have to explain to them that they're dead so that they'll go away. So I don't know if that'll stay in the text of the poem, but this is A Curse to Your Last Shadows. You are dead, old perv, no longer our father, but fodder to worms. You had nerved for sure, but now you have neither nerve nor bone. Buried or burned, you have no hands to pass out cheap grape juice, those tasteless wafers as if they were precious. No shoulders to drape with robes, no mouth to minister misery, no words to burn your congregants. You are dead. Get out. This is not your home. You are dead, old thief, and we're alive. That's what happens when old dogs hunt young. I take myself back. I have done it over and over. You were not our father. You were never our lover. You are only a ghost. Now the last tatters of your little white sheet look ludicrous. There are no eyes behind those eye holes, only emptiness. Dust to kitty litter or dust, you are far past ashes. You are nothing. You are dead. Go. My head is not your home. Telling him. All right.
Jane,
Yes.
Can I say can I ask what inspired that poem?
A couple of things. One is, I think I had just told someone who leads writing groups. She was saying, what do people want for their focus? And she was doing a lot of work with trauma. And I said, look, I've done all my trauma work. I did that a long time ago. So inevitably something had to come up, right? Just, for whatever's sake. So, so this person popped into my head from long, long ago. And some of you will recognize the church stuff. He was our minister, our youth minister, and pretty much took out the whole MYF youth group. So
he was.
He was, yeah, he's dead, he's gone.
Okay,
so that's my victory speech. We're alive and you are nothing. So yeah, so that just felt good. And I'm going to take a workshop with Annie Finch, the poet Annie Finch, in February and March. And she does a lot with rhythmic poetry and the power of rhythmic poetry. So to play with words and to play with the rhythm and stuff like that, and use it as a powerful tool, like conjuring. So those were some of the things that went on with that. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to shift gears again. This is a very sentimental poem, I think. Last session, many of you were here. I read a new poem called Just Two Old Women Having Their Wedding Photos Done in Central Park. And I'm working on a chapbook project tentatively called The Marriage Tree. We were given a very generous gift certificate from a friend of ours who's a historian. When we got married on our 25th anniversary, she said she wanted us to buy a tree to commemorate the historic occasion, because it was just a few weeks after it had become legal in Pennsylvania in 2014. So we married on the day of our 25th anniversary. And so we are both, 33 and 8, depending on how you count. So this is a draft of The Marriage Tree. A lot of you know the Foliage Farm out on 222 or wherever it is. It's a large tree farm, and we went shopping there. The Marriage Tree. We love the redbud with its heart-shaped leaves, its coral blossoms every spring. I'm drawn to the drama of a weeping habit, but for a marriage tree, we couldn't have it. Nothing deciduous, nothing with thorns, nothing that dies from a little neglect. We walked down the rows of the foliage farm. The blue atlas cedars kept pulling us back. Cedrus atlantica, 8 years in ground. She's growing as fast as a gawky girl. Her fine needles springing out like blue cowlicks. Her long, skinny limbs akimbo and lifted. We're more like the 2 old white pines down behind her, scruffy and roughened, some cracks, but still standing. Last year's needles, all browned, have blown down. Will be long gone before she's grown. Marriage tree, what if we'd planted you when we were still girls in graduate school? What is your lifespan compared to 2 women, 1 porous bone, 1 wonky heart? We will be long gone before you're grown. You stand tall to say this was our home. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Lovely use of inspiration. I loved it.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Type into the chat who's next, but I'll go ahead and announce it. CJ, you're on deck. You're ready.
Okay. All right. This is my first poem, I've only written a couple. I'm not a poet, but I guess if I wrote a couple poems, I am. But I don't typically write a lot of poetry. I write a lot of books and textbooks basically. I started this poem in 2005 and finished it in 2006. No, 2004 I started and I finished it in 2006. It's called Crash. Sitting under a tree in Mexico, I tried my hand at poetry. It didn't take. I had no angst, no deep conflicted emotions to bleed through the words. So what came out was banal, repetitive, boring. Years later, a moment in time. Crash. Suddenly, the poetry flowed. The deep flush of hot shame crossed my face every day. Forced to take a drug given to out-of-control adolescents just to stay awake. Write everything down. It's gone before it's stored. Have we met? I promised what? I'm supposed to be where? Cold stares, lost friends, feeling incompetent. I don't look like there's anything wrong with me. Watching dreams float away, never to be accomplished. Please, I've suffered enough. Please, give me my life back. Please. Years later, acceptance at last. Pain is a friend to heed, not a foe to fight. Like a butterfly coming out of her cocoon, I cannot go back to my old life. I embrace the new. I didn't realize life could be so good. I had to lose everything before I was one, at peace with the world. Please, hold on to my hand. Please, join me in peace. Please. So that's my poem.
You're still working on the second one?
No, I'm not going to do the second one. It's not apropos. The topic was change, and this was a topic, the topic of that poem, the Crash poem, was change. So I thought it was apropos, but the other one,
read it.
What, read the
Read
other
it.
one? Oh, I have
Read
to
it.
go. I actually didn't get it out, so I'd have to go find it. But if you want, I tell you what, let everyone else read. And at the end, if we still want to, I'll read the second one.
Okay, that works for me. All right, now we have Elizabeth.
Thank you, Bernardo. I have two poems. This is called Pearl Moon with Clouds for J.C. Todd. Full moon rises in winter sky, cold clouds race. One, a dragon with open mouth, does not eat the moon. Moonlight glints on patches, remnant snow. Moon rises above neighbor's peaked roof. Cloud hands cup moon, then release. Moon sails on. Cloud veils kiss moon, drape in filaments of ice and wind, hide, reveal, write cloud language in cursive. Your hair is the color of moonlight, luminous in the winter dark. Pearl, priceless, radiant, glistens in blue-black January skyscape. The moon, the light, curves into clouds continuously, climbs inches higher. Clouds reconfigure, reflect beauty, sun. Thank you. Pearl Moon with Clouds for J.C. Todd.
Amen.
And the second one is more recent, and it's a little feisty, a little gingery, so I think you'll get it. The morning they carried her out the door. First, they removed the soft parts, then 2 large chunks from the surface. They tied down the insides to keep them from spilling out. Removed the feet with quick, strong twists. Rotated the body 45 degrees. Opened the door wide enough to get the body through to the porch. Carried her down the steps gingerly so as not to drop her. Sailed her through the December air to the waiting vehicle. And with 2 or 3 strong thrusts, landed her on the bed of the pickup truck to carry her away. The morning they carried her out the door.
Everything was so peaceful and orderly, and you dropped her in a pickup truck.
Liz, is that the removal of your couch from the living room?
Bingo, you got it.
The only reason I know is she called me up to ask if I wanted it.
Yep. These
Thank you.
guys, Dave's removal came, Dave's junk removal came, and they did that, all that I said. They tied it down, they took the feet off, and took it out the door. But I wanted it to sound a little eerie, like, was this a person?
Yes,
Oh, no.
it did. Very
It
beautiful.
did,
piece of
and that's what I
storytelling.
was thinking.
Until a pickup truck, right?
Yeah.
No,
Right.
I even thought it was still, then I thought it might be an animal.
Oh, okay.
That you were talking about. And when it was for the pickup truck, I thought it was, by that time I thought, oh, well, maybe it's an animal, but of course it wasn't either.
Good job, Elizabeth. Good job
Thank
with
you.
this.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Vanessa? Vanessa, you here? Are you on mute?
You're muted, Vanessa.
There you go. Still can't hear you for some reason. Can't hear you.
Why don't we move on to Marilyn temporarily and then go back to Vanessa when, oh, she got it worked?
No, that would be fine. Go ahead, do that.
We hear you.
Oh, you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. We were having trouble hearing, so we plugged in our Bluetooth speaker. So yeah, I'm glad we got, whatever I did, it fixed it.
All right.
So the last time that we were together, I was given the challenge of writing about my experience as a child during the 3 Mile Island nuclear disaster. So my first poem is my response to that. March 29th, 1979, Reamstown, Pennsylvania, the second day of the 3 Mile Island nuclear disaster. It must have been 79. We had already survived walking to school with the big kids and sitting in hard metal chairs until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No more kindergarten nap time. No more snacks of graham crackers and milk delivered by grandmotherly cafeteria ladies. We were serious students now, enduring phonics lessons and math drills. Our teacher, Mrs. Fabian, read aloud to us Little House and Pippi Longstocking, trying to light the fires of our imaginations. That day, the principal came down and the teachers gathered in the hall, speaking in hushed adult tones and with expressions we had not yet learned to read. Our teacher came back in the room, lowered the blinds, and we carried on, counting by twos. It was only later that we learned of the invisible forces in the heart of the atom and how little they could protect us from the fires they had lit. Thank you.
True story too, isn't it?
Yes,
Wow.
lived history.
Glad you made it.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten about that crisis. I lived through it too, and I had completely forgotten about it.
I don't know, something about the way that, I mean, we were just kids, but something about the way that the adults responded made me realize this was something very serious, and yet there wasn't much that they could do, you know, but the way that we could tell they were anxious and worried, and so I think that that reaction is why it stuck in my mind very clearly, you know. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a memory like that when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. They closed school early and everybody was crying, and
That's right.
I had no idea what the heck was going on. I just was like, what's happening? Why is everybody sad and what's happening? Yeah.
Right. For
And
the
here we are.
children, we remember how the adults responded.
Right,
Mhm.
right. And here we are in 2022.
What are our children going to
We made it.
remember?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. COVID, right.
Yeah.
Marilyn, what you got for us this year?
All right. Well, here's my second poem.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So this is a little later in my school career, as I began middle school. And this is for Mike, who should have been our friend and not our teacher. In the first month of sixth grade, one of our classmates fell through the skylight in the front lobby of the middle school. We all tried hard to not imagine the crushed glass, the cold floor, the blood pooling like a halo around his red hair in the stillness of the hours before he was found. But we couldn't stop ourselves. Just as we couldn't stop ourselves from no longer imagining it, from being kids, having crushes, getting our periods, the red pooling between our legs, from growing up and having children of our own. Then how we longed for time to stand still so we could always keep them safe, never let them jump without looking. But we had received our education and we knew the price to be paid for living in this world of brilliant light. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice.
Excellent recollections of childhood, Vanessa. Interesting life you've lived.
Again, a very emotional event that,
Yeah.
Stuck in my memory.
But everybody can't capture it. That's the beauty of poetry. And you can capture it and tell the story with that kind
And
of.
I wanted to do it in a very respectful way.
Yes.
So I hope that I achieved that.
You did. Powerful story. Next up is Marilyn.
Thank you, Bernardo. Just to let you know, in my 20s, I lived near 3 Mile Island, and I would have pickup volleyball games with some of the people who worked there. And they always struck me as hot dogs because they were out of the Navy. And I was just going like, oh my God, all our nuclear activity is in the hands of these guys. Well, anyway, as I was saying a lot earlier, which some of you weren't here, during the pandemic, I've turned to doing a lot of competitions, and I actually got a first prize win
Yeah.
in 2021 in the National Federation of State Poetry Societies. And this one was written to the prompt mutability, which kind of fits the theme today. The Fish, the Woman, and the Moon. And before I start, I have to say I have to say that I owe this poem to Craig Chury because he really inspired me in a reading that we had at the Wise Owl bookstore in West Reading when that was still around. Really, really good poem, and I kind of went off of that whole thing because his approach was so different to writing a poem. He would write a sentence and then he would write a sentence that refuted the first sentence. And I was used to writing sentences where, every sentence supported the point you were making. So this is called The Fish, the Woman, and the Moon. A woman held a conversation with a fish, or perhaps with the moon. Or maybe she didn't converse at all, and the fish understood her thoughts. Or maybe there was no fish, and the words she used couldn't be understood by anyone. Maybe she spoke during the day when the moon was absent. Maybe there was no woman. Maybe there is no moon. I know there are no words with which to speak to fishes. Maybe the only words fishes understand are braided in undercurrents and bubbles floating downstream, or in shimmers on the surface of water as the moon rises behind the woman who seeks to speak with fish. Maybe the moon speaks to the fish, but refuses to talk to inconstant women. Maybe the moon speaks to the fish through the tides. Maybe the fish understands the moon better than it understands the woman. Maybe the woman seeks her lover's ring, the ring she threw into the sea. Maybe the fish swallowed it. Maybe the woman wants the fish to understand that her feelings for her lover have returned with the return of the full moon. Maybe now the woman's love is constant, or maybe it isn't, and her lover will be spurned. Maybe the fish is the woman's true love. The only thing I know is it isn't the man or the waxing, waning moon. You have to forgive me. The second poem I have, when you write for competitions, sometimes there's a poem that you have to get out first before you can write one that will make a judge happy. And that's the case with this poem. And it really goes over better to a local audience. And just as preamble, I would say that this year in June, I lost my brother. And so that leaves just my sister and myself. And before he passed, we got to see him, and I had crafted a very small book of poems that were reminiscent of our childhood and things that we would know in the family. And one of the things we all knew, and this poem never made it into it, but I had to write it, is my mother tried to make what is called potato candy. And if you've ever had potato candy, I pity you. It really doesn't taste very good. But anyway, my mother was very fascinated with this whole process. So the poem is titled, "Ma Makes Potato Candy. Pa buys the last box of confectioner's sugar in town." Ma says, "Girls, set the table. No room to bicker over whose turn it is to thunk melamine plates and flatware on the table. I lick a spoon in front of my little sister to claim my spot on the piano bench, where it's easiest to get away after supper, maybe get out of doing dishes. Ma raises her voice, says, "Dinner's ready." Dad lumbers from the living room and says, "Not much of anything." Russell thumps down the stairs, grabs a seat. Sylvia sits on the piano bench beside me, her legs dangle. Ma puts meat on the table, peas, corn, and potatoes. It's my turn to open the metal Band-Aid box, pick a prayer, say grace. Everybody bows. I say it quick. Ma says, "Don't eat all the potatoes. I want to make potato candy." Potato candy? Ma says, "I found a recipe." She's excited. It's about making something out of nothing. Sylvia and I exchange glances. Potato candy sounds yucky. Ma can't wait to get started. After dinner, she's in the kitchen with leftover potatoes, confectioner's sugar, and food dye. Ma's excited. I'm curious. Ma says, "I'm running out of sugar. Don't have enough to finish. Anson, go to the store." Dad shrugs on his overcoat, brings back 2 boxes. He ends up going to the store twice more. Ma says, "Guess I didn't need so many potatoes." 50 years later, when she dies, potato candy's still in the freezer. She couldn't throw it away. We're tempted to inscribe "thrifty" on her stone. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Marilyn. I really love that first poem. That was like magic. Patrick, you're up.
Are we on?
Yep.
Patrick.
Okay. This is an old poem. It's a parody of a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. And it's a good time of the year for it. It's called The Bills. Oh, the paying of the bills, Christmas bills, the cost of financing all our fancies and our frills. Come the holidays we spend in drastic ways mounting bills. For when we're on the go and we're running low on dough, there is no chance of stopping all the frantic Christmas shopping. It just feels so fantastic when we slap it on some plastic. And we think it fine to party drinking wine until it's time to pay when we're thinking, hell, no way. It's Christmas time, and it all goes on our dime. And much against our wills, we're paying bills, 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 bills. It takes all year to pay the Christmas bills. Lord, the coming of the bills, wedding bills. It's at the thought of these that my spirit really chills. When marrying off a daughter, it's the father who had ought to pay the bills. But the price of a white dress and the wedding's whole success leads to bills. I'm in a sanitarium or the preacher's honorarium, and the price of a tiered cake may cause the bank to break. And who are all these people? Why, they're stacked up to the steeple. I'm alone. In my frantic tabulation, I fear crazed hallucination is the cause of the bills, 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 the great accumulation of the bills. The arrival of the bills, college bills, the money that goes out to those posh diploma mills. My son's matriculation will soon cause fibrillation due to bills. For the price has really soared for the rooming and the board, and the cost of every credit is no longer copacetic. Now every college cheer needs another case of beer. Then your friends come in to meet you and have pepperoni pizza. Oh, the spills. But the courses you're receiving will involve some basket weaving. When those baskets are all woven, they will grace our windowsills. It's our budget that it kills, paying bills, 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 bills. Oh, we're weighing and we're paying college bills. Think of paying bills, funeral bills, those that they can pay with provisions of our wills. Though the cost of health insurance will put us all in durance, the failures of our doctors still create some major shockers and more bills. Just don't blow a gasket while you're pricing out that casket, and the price of your cremation, just a minor inflammation of the bills. Yes, it's hard to do entombment when morticians' rates are zooming. We are fools. The cost of all our plantings will result in crazy rantings and make bills. We last a time, but it all goes on our dime. There is nothing we can say. We can only pay and pay. Till succumbing to our ills, we leave bills, 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 bills. I hope replanning covers all the bills.
Yeah, Patrick.
Like a class there, Patrick.
Thank you.
Only thing solid is death and taxes and bills.
Death, taxes, and bills.
Thank you, sir. Carl, it's your turn.
Okay, if I can figure this out. Am I seen? Am I heard? Okay, all right. I've lost my place in the book of life. The bookmark fell out along the way, and none of the pages are dog-eared, so I cannot find where it is I was, nor can I remember the words where I left off before I realized there is no starting over, for I'm too far gone to arrive. I might have to fake it or make it up, or maybe just choose another path. See, the story never worked itself out. The details remain sketchy and obscure. Too many shadows and undeveloped characters, sentences cut short, interrupted chains of thought, and not enough technical skill to thrill the audience or compel those who dwell in the muck of things to arise and sing my praises. Although, sometimes I do find extraordinary forms in the ordinary ways through which I occupy my days and whittle the hours away in beauty, interesting occurrences, and novel experiences that have set me on a path of whoa. I'm an example of, perhaps, for others to follow, if only I could find my way back to where it is I was. But the pages are all blank. I have left them unwritten in lieu of experience, equivalence, and a hearty dose of aha. Every moment is a point of departure, a new beginning. It seems the future will be nothing like what I remember, following the road that takes me away, but also leads me home at the end of the day. That was called I've. Messages. This is my report from the summer, folks. Messages. I've been skipping around the Susquehanna River all summer. Now I'm sitting on the bank, just watching the flow, trying to make connections, trying to make amends. I thought I could feel the axis of the earth shifting in the news feed on my smartphone. Reality is never truly known, yet the water keeps flowing to all the low places, and the rivers never seem to drain. Traffic congregates at the corner and roars away, only to come again. Answers are always inferred from the context. From a distance, I can see the leaves and branches of the tree of knowledge shuddering in a stiff breeze. This reminded me that I saw the image of Christ manifest in a puddled pothole just outside Port Clinton. I saw a new life arising in an old church cemetery somewhere beyond Adamsdale. I've been through God and back again with this line. In the meantime, I hear some crows mention my name. They are sitting unseen in shadows of some old and forgotten myth. They are gesturing in crow rituals and rattling the foliage, laughing large crow laughs to caw. But what I really saw was a cell phone tower that had finally lost its power, so the revolution will not be digitized. It seems the world's magic potions have lost their original healing emotion beyond the notion of a halo of light shimmering from a dusk to dawn lamp, oddly glowing on a damp, cloudy afternoon. When the flowers are born again, they will look like pretend, but will beautify and ornament the raindrops as they dissipate into the river of truth and flow. I keep wondering if any of these words will be needed after I drop out and go. Thank you. That's my two. Bye. Oh, it's good to see that the Bards are back again, or at least online. I can't wait till we get together in a room again. What do you think? Be nice.
Just to answer your question, Carl, you weren't on earlier, but We're going to try to get back in April in person.
Yeah, that'd be good for Poetry Month. Thank you.
Excellent observation. Sandra?
All right. Good to be here tonight. Good to see everybody. I'm enjoying hearing all of your poems. I call this I'm just going to read one piece. I call this my puzzle poem. I suspect I know many people wrote puzzle poems during the pandemic and did many puzzles, and I was one of them. And Marilyn, I was glad to hear you're entering contests. This ended up being a Nimrod International Journal as a semifinalist in their Pablo Neruda Prize. So it's always exciting when you get a little attention. On the consolatory pleasure of jigsaws when the world is in bits. That's from a headline from Psyche magazine. When the world is in 1,000 pieces of sturdy recycled cardboard, the dissected map offers you what? A roundness? The edges are tricky angles of resurrection. I group parts of myself by color: pink, brown, orange, velvet blue, cirrus eyelashing the outer limits. The first to be assembled from the cradle box, the raccoon and red-crowned crane, then the endangered Manus pentadactyla, poached to the Wuhan market. A deer leapfrogs the mountains that point their triangular fingers. Go higher. A peacocked comma takes shape, twirl of turquoise feathers and lapis baubles. The prenatal womb expands. The world always gestating, always ample. There are no humans. I see what's falling apart, what's assembled. Oceans and forests, ear by wing. Thank you.
I like that last line, Sandra. I like that flow into that.
Thanks.
Inclusive of everything. Wow,
Yep.
that's nice. Anthony, you're on the mic.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Sandra. I really like the points about, the world being full of life, always gestating. It may look like something else to us, but it's always growing and expanding, and things are always changing and evolving. I'm just going to do one poem, and this is my most recent poem, I guess. I don't really like the title of it. It's just called Happy Holiday, but it will probably change. Taking a pizza break while Christmas shopping at the mall, wondering if I really should wait until after the holiday to get my girl a gift, like she said, knowing it's probably a trap, but still probably falling for it. Pinching every penny I've ever come across, eating 2 big slices all to myself. The chubby security guard uncomfortably approaches the woman a few tables away from me. She's bundled up tight, no gifts in hand, no food on her table, nowhere to go out in that cold. She tells the guard how small she felt when one of the shop owners asked her what she's doing here again after the last time. His eyes are downcast. His shrugs are soft as she tells him her life story, pleads with him to let her stay. I just paid $100 for a present, slipped the women downstairs a 20 to wrap it, and shelled out 10 bones for the 2 slices. This lady is using the food court as a home, and I'm sitting here thinking maybe I can get by without getting my girl a gift. Thank you.
Wow, man, what a perspective. Wow. Yeah, we kind of went through some of that too, man, with my aunts, man. They were feeling, they're elderly, they're 80s, and they're feeling, Christmas is not what it was, and the pandemic, and they're lonely. And I had to remind them, you're not in Kentucky. You know, they ain't got no house, they ain't got no car, they ain't got nothing. So, yeah. But it's like the heart of a poet to find those connections, man. It's a beautiful connection you just made.
Thank you.
We are coming to the end of the evening. A few people left in the room. I decided not to read. So, unless they change their mind right now. Or Vanessa, did you find your poem?
I will read my other poem if you want me to, and if there's time.
It's time.
Okay. Just to give you a little background, I was searching for a origin story, a poem that talked about how the universe began, and didn't find one.
Okay.
And then one day, walking on the road during my normal walk, this poem popped into my head.
Okay.
So I called it The Creation Story from God's Lips to My Ears. Many stories have been heard, all true in time and place. For children growing up must touch the universe one molecule at a time. Here then, the real story, as true as can be told, for those who know cannot say, and those who say cannot know. In the beginning, there was nothing but void, vast and deep, a nothing, unfathomable, impenetrable, until a moment in time, a spark of existence, the source of all life, of all creation. And the fire burned for millennia, consuming all in its path, erasing the void and filling the universe. The gases swirled and swiveled, age upon age, light upon dark, coalescing, burning, cooling. And the light separated from the dark to bring forth the heavens and the seas. As the seas cooled the fevered brow of the molten metal beneath, the earth rose and parted the water. And there came a great primordial ooze, cuddled by the velvet of the heavens, energized by the warmth of the sun, pulled by the force of the moon. The creator of all things breathed upon the ooze and brought forth life. Into each cell of new life, the breath danced and played, rendering forth a spirit that linked deep into the soul of each and wove a web so vast and deep, it was once again unfathomable, impenetrable, yet part of every living thing. Instinct powerfully ordained the awakening souls to go forth and multiply. Eon upon eon, life upon life, and we evolved. We hold within ourselves dominion over all the web, vast and deep, connection beyond understanding. The web grew, formed and reformed, image upon image, life upon life, and consciousness reigned, yet struggled to understand. the breath within, the connecting web, the source of life. The web engulfs, ingests, absorbs life upon life, death upon death, until the end, when the spirit of our breath joins the primordial ooze, the source of all creation. As it is now, and as it always has been, forever shall it be. Life creates life.
Your second poem, huh?
Yes, that is my second poem.
Yeah, you said you only written two, right?
Well, I mean, I've written little ones because I'm part of Pagoda Writers, and sometimes there's a writing exercise where we have to write a poem, and I have a whole bunch of those. But they're not like these poems. These poems, they were the poems that I wrote because I was forced to write them. I had no choice in the matter. They came out of me whether I wanted them to or not.
There you go. The muse swooped in on you. Yeah. You had me scrambling trying to find this poem I wrote similar to that called Illumination. I can't find it right now, so I'll have to do it another time. So we're running close to the end. A tradition I had created when I first became the host was to have the feature poet read the last poem for the night, send everybody home. And because now we don't have that, we suggested that as the host, I read you the last poem to send you home. This poem to me is it's very pertinent today because today is a scene of a horrific thing that happened last year and emblematic of how we as a people are still divided. And this poem, may you take it to heart and may it help you deal with what you are experiencing with those instances. It's called Color Field. Me and my color-filled mind, trying to make sense of red versus blue, when purple is such a vibrant royal color to ascribe to. Coming together would seem so much better than constantly arguing about points of view, where information provided is distorted and skewed. Intelligence should lead to instances of gathering more clues so that wisdom, not ignorance, guides us to choose. Me and my color-filled mind, trying to make sense of black versus white, as if just by watching the surface we could determine wrong versus right. Coming together might help us to weather the storm of controversy about which we fight, where our predisposed positions keep us rigid and tight, wherein wisdom breeds decisions to use more of our insight so that calm might guide us to increase peace instead of build spite. Joseph's coat of many colors was patterned and designed so like a rainbow to help to remind how colors work together. And this too I see in my color-filled mind. Thank you all for coming to the inaugural launch of Berks Bards 2022. It was a pleasure having you all and hearing your wonderful words and sharing my words with you. I look forward to you coming back next month. I had put out a suggestion that, well, this is what it is. February, I was looking at Black History Month as a possible theme. Also with February, Valentine's Day, love is a possible theme. If you want to write about presidents, President Day, winter, whatever, but just a couple thoughts like CJ was talking about, a couple thoughts thrown out there for you to meditate on and do some writing, or if you're inspired by doing it that way, or if your muse swoops in and gives you something completely different, go for it. Well, it's wonderful having you all and seeing you all. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you, Bernardo.
Thank you, Bernardo. Very,
Thank you.
this is my first Berks Bards event. So I'm very pleased to be here, and I loved listening to all of your poems. That was fabulous. And Bernardo, you did a great job hosting. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thanks.